Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at a Stug build. Now I brought the Stug on Steel Path and I actually got it to work. On the other hand, this is a highly questionable weapon. So if you take a look here, it has middling crit chance and crit multiplier and, well, 0% status. It does have some on the explosion, but honestly, this is just the meme build. So I did manage to roll these two Rivens myself. This first one here is probably going to be used for, I don't know, hunting. And this second one here is perfect for Ivara, or, well, that video. First, I had to go through the pains of actually leveling this weapon, which I did on a Darrow myself. It was an interesting experience and wasn't the most amusing thing to level. That said, the Banshee method with Savagot's Gloom still did work out really well. So let's take a look at what I did with this build. You'll see it used a ton of Forma, but that's just the way it is. We're gonna build this for pure crits and multi-shot and base damage, and you'll soon know why. So first we got Hornet Strike, and then our multi-shot mods Barrel Diffusion and Lethal Torrent. I'm running Primed Expel Grenier because that's what I'm testing against. And then our two crit mods. I actually chose to mod for crit as well as on my Riven because that's where all our damage is gonna come from. Extra blast radius from Prime Fulmination get more utility. So now we see I actually have 23-ish% crit chance, a 5.0 multiplier. The status is still non-existent, but that is perfectly fine. I also chose to slot on Lethal Momentum in the X list because honestly, this weapon is a bit of a pain in the ass to fire. So you'll see I paired Stuck with Garuda. Now let's check this out. I'm running the standard build I've showed you before in the last couple of videos with Combat Discipline and Arcane Avenger. This way we can stack a lot of flat crit to make the Stug a lot more reliable. Now remember, I wasn't building for any status. This is because we're going to be using Seeking Talents. Now I could only get Stug to work on Garuda, and this is because her 4 gives you 4 slash procs against enemies. The only issue, it has an extremely long cast time, so for that reason I've chosen to slot in Natural Talent. This does make the rest of the build flow better, as well as using her other skills like her 1 for utility, which normally takes a really long time. Figure Swap also helps for the damage, and our other arcane is Arcane Precision, accounting for nearly half of our damage. I also built on a little bit of extra strength because, well, I'm slapping on Eclipse. Honestly, this build already has Eclipse, so I'm going to run with it. We need a high amount of duration so that her 4 scales properly, and this just works nicely for Eclipse as well since it has such high base duration. I also chose to throw on Peculiar Growth as a reminder that this is a meme build and it's not meant for a long-term play. For my primer today, I brought Cedo because Stug, it's not good enough to be your only weapon. You're gonna have to bring melee as well. So I modded it for Radiation and Viral. It has innate blast. The Altfire also hits all 4 base elements. We also increased the potential of status with multi-shot and status duration further, so we have more time to set up on Stug. For our melee, it's a very standard build with Weeping Wounds Blood Rush and our scaling crits base damage, as well as this Riven, which is a bit depressing, Toxin and minus slash, but it still works. Our focus school, I'm going for Neramon for Power Spike, as well we will still have to use our melee somewhat. I'm also bringing a Darza Kavat so that we can force even more additive crit. The Synth Set bonus is also really handy for reloading our Stug and our Cedo while we're not using it. We have Fetch and the other standard utility mods, Link and Primed Animal Instinct, Hunt Recovery, Medipet Kit for better bleedouts. But the important part is Cat's Eye for those flat crits. You have nearly 100% crit if this procs by itself without Avenger, and we're extending the duration of the buff with the Tech Enhance mod. So let's try this out. First, I'm going to set up on some fodder here. Normally in play, you're going to proc Arcane Avenger. There we go, Arcane Avenger. So I'm going to come up to the Stray Carmanic Bombards, cast the Slash, and, well, make sure to cast your 3 once, not twice, otherwise you're going to kill yourself with Combat Discipline. Now you shoot Stug, and look at all those Slash procs go. A ton of damage. Of course, if you start losing your crit buffs or you don't set up properly, you will end up with this instead. These Butchers or Power Claws don't have that much health or armor, but I still failed to kill them there. So that can be a problem. Now I'm going to set up again, show you what we can do with priming them. Well, I didn't proc Avenger there, but I have Cat's Eye, which is basically the same thing. So let's set up my 4 and then our Viral procs and go back to Stug. And that is a 200,000 slash tick, 90,000s, it's 100,000. There's just so much damage going on here. So if you do prime them up for a Viral, it is insane. You can kill basically anything on Steel Path. That said, it is very reliant on Viral for high armor, high HP targets like this, but how often are you going to see an enemy this tanky? These are the tankiest enemies in the game after all. And there you go, a 230k on that one. All the remaining footage in this video is just showcasing the build on Steel Path. This is on the Annie tile set. It doesn't have any nullifiers, which makes showcasing the build a bit easier, but that can get slightly problematic, although Stug does hit more than once, so I guess it's okay. You want to get your one shield up and then cast Eclipse. Then cast your Slash and throw your Cedo in optionally and bit of Stug. Then they just die easily. Your melee will still be needed to keep up the kills per second, because although this does work, the kills are still too slow with the setup process. You want to make sure at all times that you have your one shield, since it is literally invincible, but it only protects you from the front, so this helps you significantly improve your survivability. Once you stack up enough damage absorbed through your shield, you can still chuck at it with enemies with your bleed hard and nuke them for millions of damage. Now on the acolytes, there's a little bit of a problem here because you can only stack up to 4 slash procs at once, and your 4 does force a bit of slash on them. You want to be able to get the slash procs from your Stug, but it will be a little bit difficult because you need to wait for the initial 4 Seeking Talent slash to wear off first, which can be a bit annoying. Once you do get the slash 6 going, it is decent damage, but because you can't proc viral on the acolytes, it is somewhat problematic and becomes a very hectic kind of fight where it's just attrition, you fighting to kill them and them slowly whittling you down. So I would not recommend using the Stug for this purpose, just use your melee. So that's about it on what I want to show you for the Stug build videos today. I did manage to take in Steel Path, and you can make it work too. That said, it was very reliant on that God roll Riven I had. On the other hand, Stug Rivens are cheap, cause who is even actually using this weapon? If you want to try this out, feel free to look for a Stug Riven. At most, it might cost you 200 plat or so for a good roll. What are my next plans for this Stug? Well, you'll just have to wait and see to find out. Anyways, I hope you like what you saw today. If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like or better yet, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to get you new information out always as soon as possible, like I've done with covering the Tempest story. I'm also preparing to bring you a couple meme builds and anything else, and preparing for the Sisters of Parvos update. Don't want to miss out on that Day 1 Ureli content, do you? Stay tuned for more uploads on a near daily basis. That'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.